I get the meeting started because I know there's some people that are leaving. It'll be more like a presentation. So if you don't mind, let me do my presentation on, what information I have and the direction that Ontario is going. And then after the presentation is over, if there's some questions, some clarifications that you're going to need, then I could explain, my position and our position over here. So once again, thank you all for coming. Everybody that's in this room are people that are involved in the sport. They influence the direction of the sport. You're all passionate people, and we all have all that in common. All right? So let me start by the IFBB Pro League and, versus the International League, IFBB International League. So if I go to the next slide. So basically, how'd we get here? So what happened with me personally at first, I was approached at the North Americans by the IFBB Pro League and the promoter of the Olympia, Robin Chang, that there may be a possibility of a split between the IFBB Pro League MPC and the IFBB International. All right? This was pending a meeting at the Olympia with the two presidents, IFBB President Rafael Santonca and IFBB President of the IFBB Pro League, MPC, Jim Mannion. Pending that, it kind of gave me a heads up. Listen, pending this meeting, if we resolve what we need to resolve, there's going to be a split. So, of course, this would affect qualifications to the IFBB Pro League, to which Jim Mannion is president of. So there was a meeting at the Olympia between the IFBB Pro League and IFBB International, Rafael Santonca. Unfortunately, they were not able to reach an agreement. Different camps have different versions on who was right and who was wrong. I'm not going to get into that. It's really not about that. All I can say is that it was certainly out of our control. Because trust me, things that are going on here in Ontario is very good. We have a great organization. We're quite happy. The Ben Weider Cup is something that we were hoping is going to grow it here and continue growing it. Of course, the Toronto Pro Show. Certainly, we didn't want things to change, but sometimes you don't have control on everything. So there's no gray area, and as president of the OPA and on behalf of the directors and the members, a side had to be chosen which would best benefit our OPA organization and its members. So here in Ontario, for those that aren't from Ontario, we do have Ontario Physique Association. We have elected regional directors, and the regional directors and the executive make the decisions. The regional directors are the ones that speak on behalf of the members when we have executive meetings. Factors taken into consideration. So basically, this is how I understand it. Existing IFBB pros would not be able to promote, judge, or participate in any event sanctioned by the IFBB International. Meaning, all my IFBB pros here who are running shows, who are involved with the OPA, would not be able to run shows or be involved from the OPA. That's the way I understood it. There'd be no qualification systems for IFBB pro cards through the International. There'd be no media coverage from the top 3 magazines in Canada, including all U.S. magazines. These are the things I'm taking into consideration. No opportunity for our athletes to receive IFBB Pro League cards. Our geographic proximity to the U.S. They're our neighbors. They're right next door. They're the biggest influencers for us. Literally having to cancel the Toronto Pro Super Show Pro event. So these are the things I'm looking at. Lack of competition structure of the IFBB Pro Elite in North America. That's, the Pro Elite is going to be the new pro league, but the Pro Elite is something that they're building now. They're starting to build out with the IFBB International event. Right now, it's at the beginning stages, so they don't have the infrastructure that the IFBB Pro League has, which has been in place since 1963. When was the first Olympia? So there we go. Winston would know. So these are the things that I'm taking into consideration. So this is what happened. So we had the appointment of an official Canada rep. So the IFBB Pro League, Jim Mannion appointed myself to represent Canada after we had some discussions. So the reason is that we've corresponded and worked together for many years, and with the success of the Toronto Pro Super Show and many years of experience working with the amateur division, the Ontario Physique Association, he wanted myself to represent Canada. After consulting with my OPA executives, regional directors, I began having some talks with the IFBB Pro League. All right. Although we didn't agree with the initial plan of the IFBB Pro League had originally for Canada, and it was actually announced on social media, we were able to reach a compromise to ensure the grassroots of our sports was not affected by this change, as we already had a system in place, especially here in Ontario. So this compromise was done for Canada, as Jim Mannion understands that we are neighbors to the USA, and our strong relationship with them in the past will be the foundation to continue the growth here in the future. So there was a compromise. All right, so this here will be going out today. So basically it says, to whom it may concern, on behalf of the IFBB Professional League, I'm pleased to appoint Ron Hashie as the authorized representative for Canada. Ron has over 40 years of experience and dedication to the sport of bodybuilding and fitness. I'm confident that the same high standard of fairness, credibility he has demonstrated in the past will continue for the future. We at the IFBB Professional League are proud to announce that under the leadership of Ron Hashie, there will be even more opportunities to attain IFBB Professional League Pro cards, with 4 IFBB Professional League qualifiers slated for Canada in 2018. We look forward to working closely with our Canadian partners, Jim Mannion, President of the IFBB Pro League. So he officially announced that. So here's the compromise. So here are the options. So in order to maintain all our amateur contests across Canada that could lead to an IFBB Pro card, there will be a new association in place. The name of the organization in Canada would be Canadian Physique Association. Everybody was thinking NPC Canada and that kind of stuff, but that's not what it would be. So there would be a membership system in place, like there is now, except it would be like the NPC. Not provincial, it's all of Canada. Anyone wishing to participate as officials, promoters, and competitors will need to join. You have to become a member. All contests will be promoted and judged the same format as the NPC amateur competitions in the U.S. Some of you have judged maybe North Americans or have been to the North Americans. Basically, that's a NPC style. All right? All competitors, rules, regulations, and guidelines will be the same as NPC. You go on the NPC website, you'll see what the guidelines are. Basically the same thing. All existing qualified judges that can be recognized and approved by myself to ensure the Canadian Physique Association consistency across Canada. So existing judges from across Canada, depending on what they want to do, and depending on the association and how they want to do this, if existing judges want to come on board because the infrastructure is there and they're already good judges, of course, we're going to open that door for that opportunity. All right? Rudy Jambrozik will be the representative for the judges across Canada and would be available upon request to provide support, education on the NPC IFBB Pro League judging criteria. Rudy's judging North Americans. He's an IFBB Pro judge. He's very familiar with the NPC style. So there may be some people from different provinces that may need some help and may want his expertise on that area, and you know, we would be more than happy to educate and fly him out there and do whatever we can, or myself for that matter. Okay, the support system. So to ensure all athletes are treated fairly and represented with more opportunities to compete where and when they wish, to offer them more chances for the IFBB Pro card. So we're talking about the support system. Basically, you know, what are you going to be getting from me and from the Canadian Physique Association? So this is basically how we're going to promote it. Our existing web magazine, which is already in place, will promote contests and athletes across Canada. As some of you may already know, we do have the infrastructure. We do have a magazine in place. It's a web magazine, monthly, 60, 70 pages. So all of Canada would be in there. Any show that any of the promoters are running, we would promote it in there. So for you that for some of you who haven't seen the magazine, it would be in our website. But we do a mail out to all existing members that we have, and as we get more web addresses or email addresses, that would be sent out. Right now we're sending it out to about 10,000. More promoter and trainer support through advertising. What I mean by that is that same with the web magazine, there will be, it's really going to be promoter and trainer focused, so we're going to try to advertise that, of course, in our web magazine. And of course, through our hard copy magazines, and I'll talk to you about that in a minute. We'd have more ambassador and trainer support through education. Right now we have an ambassador program here. Ambassadors are recognized as right now as OPA qualified, let's just say, and trainers and ambassadors are going to work together to help have more athletes come and compete with the IFBB. Right now, Muscle Insider will dedicate 2 full pages per issue to promote Canadian Physique Association. 2 full pages, hard copy. And Muscle Insider is going to be doing. This is going to be part of our advertising costs to promote all the shows across Canada, to, you know, get into their hard copy magazine. And as you all know, Muscle Insider is one of our top magazines here in Canada, right? So here's the advantages. Inside Fitness, Muscle Insider, Muscle Memory. Exclusive to CPA. That's who they're going to promote. That's who they're going to advertise. Muscle Insider will ensure a minimum of 25 contests coverage, exclusive to CPA. Not necessarily here in Ontario, it's going to be around. Okay? Right, Dominic? International support from, of course, Muscle Development Flex Magazine. All pro qualifiers and contests in Canada will qualify our amateurs to the Arnold Classic, the Amateur Olympia in Las Vegas, North Americans. So in order to get there, you got to get to our pro qualifiers. All media will remain exclusive to the Canadian Physique Association, basically magazines I talked to you about. That's who they're going to support. That's who they're going to promote. And that's the direction we are going with them. So here's just some samples. This is the web magazine, which would be a different name, which is our monthly magazine that we have budgeted for. So this is going to be basically all about our athletes, all about our trainers, all about our shows. It's going to be sent out every month. Like I said, we have 10,000 followers or email addresses, but of course that's going to grow as the membership grows. So everybody will be getting monthly magazines. Muscle Insider, as I said, hard copy, and of course, you know, they're web. They're very strong on the web. They will be working directly and exclusive with us. Inside Fitness, top magazine here in Canada. They're committed to work exclusive with us. Muscle Memory, same deal. They're going to work exclusive with us. They've always been supporters of the sport, and that's going to continue. The Pro Qualifiers, 2018 season. Of course, there's a transition going on here, and in order to get the Pro Qualifiers going and strong, we're going to have a system in place for 2018. Not necessarily going to be the same for 2019 or you know, as we grow, we may change the system. But right now, we wanted to get it going, and this is basically the agreement that Jim Mannion has made with us, along with Robin Chang. It's kind of like the exception to some of the other countries. So we're going to have 4 pro qualifiers. Of course, the June 1st and 2nd show is the Toronto Pro Super Show. We had our provincials there, right? Which already brings in 400 to 500 athletes, correct? Well, the provincials will now be a pro qualifier. In other words, you're going to the Ontarios, but you're going to have a chance for a pro card. All right, then I'll tell you how you get there. Of course, July 7, 2018, July 7, correct? We have the Vancouver Pro Show. We have Michelle here, flew in to lend support. same deal. It will be a pro qualifier, and there's going to be an amateur event there. Let me get this done. Don't forget your question, though. August 4th, there will be a natural Canadian pro qualifier. Natural Canadian pro qualifier. We're going to do, you know, we got 14 shows, 12 shows here in Ontario. I'm sure there's a lot of shows across Canada. So August 4th, when we usually have our natural Ontarios, will be a natural Canadian pro qualifier. So our natural athletes, tested athletes, still wanting to vie for that pro card will still have that opportunity. September 8th, that's tentative. It might be in November or December. That date has been not locked in, but I just put it there for now because I saw there was no shows in September. GNC All Max Canadian National Pro Qualifier. Now I'm going to give you a little bit more information on this. All pro qualifiers will offer pro cards to overall winners in each division. So if there's a master's class with 3 height divisions in the masters, there'll be a pro card for that. Each division, I don't mean each division as, you know, bikini. Yeah, bikini will have pro cards, but masters, if there's more than one class, will have pro cards also. So there'll be pro cards for each division for all of these shows. Exactly the same. So there'll be opportunities for pro cards, probably more pro cards than last year. So how do we get there? Who qualifies to what? And who can compete at these shows? These are the big questions, right? So who qualifies to the Toronto Pro Qualifier, the Vancouver Pro Qualifier, and the September 8th National Pro Qualifier? You notice I didn't include the natural in there. So this is how we got things set up. Again, this is for this 2018 season. So 2017, anybody that's competed in a CBBF Nationals, either at the Natural Canada, the Natural World Qualifier, we call it the Natural Canadas, but you guys know what I mean. Anybody that competed in that show, those competitors will qualify to the Pro Qualifier. Okay, and anybody that competed in the 2016 Nationals or Natural Canadas and haven't done anything since then, top 5 will qualify. All right. Anybody that competes in the 2017 regional shows across Canada, and we got, you know, 26 shows here. In the 2017 shows, top 5 will qualify to the Pro Qualifier. And that's natural shows also. So if you compete in a natural show, you still qualify to the Pro Qualifiers. Actually, the natural athletes will have a chance to qualify to more Pro Qualifiers because they should. It's tougher for them. So top 5 from these regional shows will qualify to the Pro Qualifier. Anything in 2018 regional shows, because it's the first year, if you do a regional show, you just basically qualify to the Pro Qualifier. 2018. Now we're going to encourage people in these regional shows. We're going to encourage our promoters who are involved to have novice events in those shows. Obviously, a lot of these competitors, first-timers especially, they're not thinking IFBB Pro cards, but maybe they are, right? It's like you know, an 8-year-old hockey player who's thinking NHL. But for those that aren't thinking that, we will encourage novice competitions within these regional shows for bragging rights. First-time competitors, never competed, but they want that medallion or they want a medal. But it'll be up to the promoter to decide if they want to do that, right? So these pro qualifiers will be open to all countries, not just Canada, all countries except the September 8th National Pro Qualifier. That will be Canada only. But the Toronto one and the Vancouver one, it'll be open to all Canada, but remember, it'll be open to other countries. So that could be a factor for our athletes. So who qualifies to the Natural Pro Qualifier? So the Natural show will be the one that's going to be our August 4th one. So basically, 2017 athletes, 2017 competitors that competed at the Natural Canadas, all competitors will qualify. So if you competed at the Natural Canada or the World Qualifier, if you want to come on board, you qualify. 2016 Natural Canadas, whoever competed in that top 5 qualified. 2017 regional shows across Canada, top 5. 2017 natural provincials across Canada, top 5. The 2018 local natural Canada, top 5. We made it more of a tier system on that one there. But the natural competitors, there will be pro cards just like everybody else. The difference is you're not going to get an opportunity to go to the World Championships, which is what the CBBF offered. The only thing is you can just compete for that. The other difference is, and I'm going to talk about that a little later, is we will have in the natural shows, we're going to have classic physique instead of classic bodybuilding. So it'll be classic physique. Same as NPC, right? All right, regional shows, natural and open across Canada. So all regional shows will be open to all competitors across Canada. For 2018, all competitors stepping on stage at the regional show qualify to pro qualifier. 2018 only. 2019, we'll see where we're at. We'll see where NPC wants to go with all of this and the IFBB Pro League. Promoters will be encouraged to have novice divisions for their first-time competitors, of course. More novice divisions will receive awards and bragging rights, but no qualifications. They can compete in both, though. They can compete in novice and open for those shows. Competitors can compete in both novice and open. Competitors can cross over in all divisions, just like NPC does. Minimum entry fee will be $100. It's going to be the minimum. But, you know, we're probably going to put a maximum on that. We don't want to start charging $200, $300. It's ridiculous. That's what we have here right now in Ontario, $100. Different provinces have different systems. Existing provincials can continue with the same qualifications as regional shows. Listen, some provinces have provincials. It's a big deal for them. It's about having that title, but it's only going to be the same qualification as a regional show. So if some provinces have a provincial event, whatever promoter runs that show, maybe the incentive is all overall winners get an all-expense trip to Vancouver or Toronto to compete in the pro qualifier. It'll be up to the promoter to create some incentive for those athletes to compete at the provincials, other than the bragging rights, right? All natural shows we will add the classic physique, as I mentioned. Promoter selection and responsibility. Promoter selection will be approved by myself. Promoter may be an existing association. You'd have to do your due diligence. Some associations run all the shows and all the income they make from the shows. It's all volunteer basis, and that helps the province. But again, you got to do your due diligence, seek legal advice on that. Promoters may be an existing promoter. So, you know, existing promoters have been doing good jobs across Canada, or especially in Ontario. We know what the deal is, but across Canada may come on board. Sanction fee for all regional shows is $2,500. Promoter is responsible to ensure all competitors are CPA members. Promoter will pay for all judges' expenses. Minimum 5 judges, but a head judge. Promoter keeps all entry fees, ticket sales, sponsors, exhibitor income. Promoter is basically, we're basically giving them ownership of that show. It's up to them to build it, to create it, to grow it. You know, pending, you know, obviously there's going to be rules, you know, if they're not running, if there's a lot of problems with the event or they're not doing it with credibility, there's going to be some guidelines like NPC has, right? Cash prizes to competitors can only be related to expenses of competing. I mean, you know, we got some great promoters here that are offering trips to Florida and that. And they get the edge that way, and trust me, they do a great job promoting shows. And they want to give back to the athletes, so it really works well. But now they'll be able to run a regional show, and you know, if they're in Toronto, they may want to say, listen, all expense trip to the Vancouver Pro Show, or expenses paid to come to the Toronto Pro Show and compete at the Pro Qualifier. So it's got to be related to going back to the athletes. It can't be for money. Can't be for profit. So, or it could be You know, as long as it's related to our shows, but like it could be anything to do with competing. But I think, you know, the idea of spending your money towards going to a pro qualifier is a great idea, especially since, you know, I'm running one and so is Michelle, right? So we'll be transparent on that one. Promoter may offer all expense trips, like I said, to compete pro qualifiers. Yeah, let's talk a little bit, just quickly, promoters. I don't know, there's just when you hear the word promoter, you're thinking, you know, boxing promoters, it's all in the dark and it's all, you know. Promoters are the ones, along with the trainers, that I feel do a lot of the work to grow the sport. And it's important that we bring them more involved in the sport. So yeah, the shows are going to be, this whole Canadian Physique Association is going to be promoter driven. It really will be, just like the MPC. So I think it's important to remember that a lot of the promoters that are going to be promoting these shows are people that, like, a lot of them are sitting here, they're compassionate. You know, they may not be involved in the executive, but they have the same passion, the same love, and the same dedication to the sport. And it's not just about making that extra buck. It's about promoting the sport, and that was the reason why they got involved. By the way, there's no problem making money. I don't hold that against anybody. But remember, the promoter is responsible to also losing money. It's on their shoulders, and they carry that responsibility. So president or executive members may be appointed if they want to be involved. Say a president of an association says, you know something? I happen to be an IFBB pro. I want to keep it. If they want to stay involved, absolutely they can stay involved. You know, we have to have a conversation, and we can work. So the existing people that are out there, they're all good people. They're all like me. They're all, you know, we're all on the same page. We're all friends. Appointed representatives from different provinces can promote events, help the selection of judges, and assist in ensuring continued growth in the province. Listen, I can't do it all. Rudy can't do it all. So just like the NPC, you know, they kind of appoint people to help them, you know, with the judging and all that. So, of course, we're going to have some key people helping with us. It's not just going to be promoters. And there may be people that are good people. They belong to a strong association. They're not interested in promoting a show, but they want to help. And they want to help us give direction on, you know, who the key players are in their province. And they're good head judges. So, you know, working with Rudy and myself, you know, we want to continue having the good judges. Judges play a very key and important role in the credibility of any sport. So we're not going to, like, forget that. Here again, this is something that associations will have to talk to the members about, make sure they do their due diligence, whether it's, you know, existing associations a lot of associations, of course, run their events. It's all volunteer based. They have bylaws, and they have to follow those bylaws. Members have to be involved in voting. They got to do their due diligence legally and regarding their accounts and stuff like that. But after they've done that, there may be a possibility that they can continue running these events. They're doing a great job already. Continue their fundraising to help the competitors. So they're the promoters, except they're giving back to the competitors. That'll be up to them. If it's, you know, if they're legally able to do it, and if their bylaws allow it, or if they have to make the changes in the bylaws, it'll be up to the existing provinces to do their due diligence and make sure that that's in place. So this is basically what's going to happen here in Ontario, right? We have approximately 2,800 members with a total of 26 contests in Ontario. So we do play a role in, we are a factor with the whole country here. And 12 contests are in the natural stream, 12 contests in the open stream. All existing promoters and contests will remain in place, of course. Sanction fee for our promoters now is going to be $2,500. Okay? Promoters will receive the usual $3,000 from me, from the Allmax and GNC sponsorship. So promoters, you know, you'll be in a better, and you'll be in a good position. What's going to be a little bit different is that the promoters are going to be responsible for judges' expenses. Promoters have an opportunity now. A lot of them, you know, they negotiate things with hotels. They get free rooms. They may be able to get a few free rooms, so they'll be in a better position to get better discounts to keep those expenses down. And of course, we're going to work with, in Ontario anyway, with Rudy to ensure that you know, we're not flying in people from Vancouver to judge a regional show. If the guy lives next door, that's who we're going to try to get. CPA judges, representatives, Rudy Dambrodix will select judges across Ontario with the help of existing directors that we have in place, like Winston, Paul, Lincoln. You know, we're still all working together. We're still part of that team. Existing directors will assist in promoting the continued growth of bodybuilding and fitness in Ontario. So that conversation is always going to continue with us. These are our contests for Ontario. So basically, those are the tentative dates. I think a lot of them are locked in already. Okay. I think there was a little change here in the, I guess in Fua, your show, and Barry, you'll be right before. But anyway, these are all the shows that we have, and of course we got the Vancouver Pro Qualifier here. We listed that as part of the events. That's the end of my presentation. Now, questions?
So many.
We'll start with you.
No, you already responded to my question.
I already responded?
I wanted to know how many pro cards, like...
Yeah. So you already know pro cards.
Congratulations, Ron.
Thank you.
Are we able to get a copy of that presentation?
Yeah, we're getting it taped.
Terrific.
There's got to be more questions. It's like this is a controversial issue here.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
We're Canadian.
Yeah.
Instead, like for those pro qualifiers, people from other countries can come and compete for.
Yeah. So for the Vancouver Pro Show and the Toronto Pro Show, anybody from anybody can compete in those shows.
But how would they qualify?
They qualified. That's a good question, and that's something that the IFBB Pro League needs to address. I know in a lot of the countries that they're in right now, you know, Canada's a little different. Obviously, this system is not in place in Germany or France. So they're going into these countries right now, from what I understand, and they're saying, come to our pro qualifier. You don't have to be a member. Just pay your entry fee, and you can get your pro card.
So if I promote it, because there's so many people asking me from other countries.
I'm sorry?
There's so many people asking me from the other countries.
Right.
They want to compete, but they have a different, like they don't know how to get here.
Yeah.
So they just pay the entry fee.
Yeah. Basically, what they're doing in other countries is, you know, if you're a different association or a different federation, you can come in from another country and just pay the entry fee.
And
That's the way I understand it from other countries. Yeah.
So Toronto Pro Show would be the
Toronto Pro Show and Vancouver, they're the only two.
So no regionals or anything.
Pardon?
No regionals here. They don't have to do the regionals here. They just come.
No. We don't. No, the regionals are just limited to Canada.
Okay.
All regional shows will be open. I think I mentioned it. All regional shows, by the way, I don't think I mentioned it. Pretty important. Are open to all of Canada. So in other words, if you're running a regional show in BC, Ontario can compete in that. If I'm running a regional show in Ontario, Manitoba can compete in it. It's all Canada. So all the regional shows, it's a double-edged sword. You're thinking that's great, but there might be competitors from your show going to from your province going to other provinces. So in a way, it's good for the competitors. They get to experience different judges, or maybe they're doing a trip to Vancouver and they want to do a regional show there. They'll have more opportunities to get that qualification to, you know, one of the pro shows.
Does that mean that the league competitors can also go and compete in NPC as well as a regional level? No.
NPC, no. Everything remains the same with NPC. If you want to get to the NPC side, you'll have to go through the pro qualifiers.
So if you've done how long do you stay qualified? Let's say, like you said, the
Right now, 1 year.
2017. Okay, so
Yeah.
if you did the 2017,
Yeah.
you have one shot.
That one shot, and then you go right back into the system. That's going to probably, We're gonna. If you go on the NPC website, they got a system that's pretty intricate, and they have different. You know, eventually we're going to probably make it a little tougher to get to the pro qualifiers.
Yeah.
Like we don't want people just walking off the street with, you know, a six-pack that looks like a one-pack. You know, I mean, listen. You know, eventually we want to have some people walking in there that deserve to be at that show.
People that already own a certain brand.
So the OPA is basically shutting down now, you're disbanding and severing ties with the CBF and all the rest of it.
Yeah, well, yeah, we have
So
to.
so now you're in direct competition with the CBF and the rest of the province?
Mm-hmm.
So what about the OPA's bank account and everything now? Is that, since you're disbanding and you're going under a new name, what happens to the funds in your account? Does that go back to those members? Or you
The funds are being spent as we speak to the members. There's not much funds left. So don't worry about the OPA funds. We're going to be ensuring that it's done properly. I did seek legal advice on that and I spoke to my accountant about that. And other associations that have funds, if they speak to their legal advisors, that association that you have funds, depending on what your bylaws are and what the members want to do, it's the members' decision. So the members may decide, you know something, we want to be with the Canadian Physique Association. So depending on what your members want to decide, maybe that can continue for those associations that you know want to go that route.
So we could
Yeah.
transfer the funds, Ron?
Pardon?
If our members want to go with the CPA, we could transfer those funds to the CPA?
No, not to me.
No, not to you, but to...
No,
to the
you'd have to talk to your you'd have to have a meeting with your members. You have to make sure you talk to your you get proper legal advice on that, depending on your bylaws and rules and that.
Okay.
You know, you may have to ensure that the funds are spent with to the maybe your members want you to spend the funds on them, since it really does belong to the members to compete in a pro qualifier.
So we could do that.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you can do that, but I think you got to make sure your bylaws are either changed to accept that, and that your members are in. Because I know a lot of you. Well, we're all still part of the CBBF, so a lot of you have to go back to your members on that, obviously, to decide what you want to do, and then those parts. You know, some of the associations are maybe you know the funds. There may not be some big, large amounts of funds in their associations. So for those associations, it'll be easy to ensure that the funds are spent correctly for their membership, depending on where the membership wants to go, depending on the bylaws. So obviously bylaws will likely have to be changed if the funds are going to be spent on your members to go with CPA, right? Okay, does that answer your question? Yes, sir.
So the OPA becoming the CPA, are you continuing with the title sponsors being GNC Allmax?
Yep. For this year, we have contracts signed
Okay.
already.
Next year?
So, like I said, for the provincials for this year, everything's in place. The agreement has been made, so the GNC and Allmax will continue being the title sponsors for this year, anyway, or for 2018. I mean.
2018. Okay.
Yeah. So you still get the $3,000 as the promoter, and the GNC and Allmax are still the title sponsors. That may change in 2019, but I've already spoken to them, and they're in complete support of the CPA.
Okay, great.
Yes, Dominic.
Ron, so in terms of the membership and competitors, so you can go either CBBF or CPA. In terms of the pro cards,
Right.
where are those pro cards going to lead? So if you compete in the CBBF,
Right.
you get an opportunity to get your elite IFBB
Right.
elite pro card.
Right. Mm-hmm.
If you go CPA, you get your IFBB pro league card.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Well, first off, basically, you know, the Pro Elite card is something that's just started this year. Obviously, this has a lot to do with the split is probably part of the reason, but they did have they had a system in place where there was a point system. Maybe Debbie can even give us some details on that, but there was a point system at the IFBB International where you can, the amateurs can actually get some money, like top 15. If you entered enough shows, you get to compete in this Pro Elite division. But you were not an elite. You were really a pro. You were still an amateur. So now they're going to have a Pro and Elite card. So I know anybody that wants to compete in the CBBF may be different, but I know in Canada, if you competed in another amateur division and you still wanted to compete with OPA, we allowed that. We didn't say you can only compete with us. As long as you were an amateur, you can compete with WBFF amateur, IDFA amateur, and whatever association you wanted to compete in. Right, Debbie? Yeah. In some other countries, it's a little different. I know I talked to Bill about it, and they said, no, you can only compete. In the UK, you can only compete. But in this country here, that's the way it works. So I'm sure a lot of athletes are going to compete in the CBBF and the CPA while they're amateurs. Maybe they want to, there will be two roads to two different pro cards, the Pro Elite card or the, the IFBB Pro League card. I know here in Ontario, I'll be telling everybody to come to my show at the Pro Qualifier in Toronto. So we got 26 shows. So the support that we used to give to go to the Nationals to get the IFBB Pro card is not going to be there. Okay? So that's going to obviously affect the future of those shows.
So, Ron, going the Pro League is the only route to the Olympia, correct?
That's correct. So the Pro League is, the amateur, the Olympia and the Arnolds. From what I understand, the Arnolds in Columbus and the Olympia is staying with the IFBB Pro League. I know there's some stuff going on in other countries. I think Arnold, South America or Australia is staying with the IFBB Pro League, but obviously a lot of the other Arnolds are going to be going with the IFBB International. Spain, what else? Who else, Debbie? You don't have all the details, but yeah, there's going to be, like the other countries are very, very strong on the international end of it. Extremely strong. We don't have as much exposure here, other than the CBBF sending athletes to the world qualifiers. So, we're kind of like in a bubble here, with the U.S. But we really have no choice, in my opinion, to go with the U.S. Yeah.
Just to clarify, also, I got word from Robin that the Arnolds in Columbus, the Arnolds in Australia, and any of the Olympia amateurs and North Americans are open to Canadians and to anybody worldwide for pro cards as well.
So that'll obviously is always a good thing, right? More pro cards. Yes.
So as existing pros, obviously we have to stick with the pro league.
Yeah.
For our amateurs, do they have the choice whether they want to compete under a CPA show or CBF show? They have to stick with one.
No, they can do both.
Okay.
I don't think you're going to refuse anybody. So we're not going to refuse it. Yeah, they can do both. Yeah, absolutely. Depending on where they want to go,
So if I have a men's physique guy wants to do a local APQ show, the next week he can go and do a CPA show.
Sure.
Doesn't matter.
Unless he gets a pro card with us.
Well, mine do. Nobody caught that?
No, you can't hold both pro cards. There's no gray area there, all right? And I think Debbie will agree with that. You can't own two pro cards. You're either going to be the IFBB Pro League or IFBB Pro Elite, all right? The magazines are recognizing IFBB Pro League cards right now. That's it. That's here in Canada anyway, and in the U.S. Might be different in Europe and other countries, right?
Sorry, one question. Yesterday they announced the pro cards that were given out.
Right.
This is an elite IFBB pro card. It wasn't the pro league pro card. To
So-
the pro card holders. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, well, what happened yesterday, we did have an agreement, and Raphael, president of the IFBB International, and Jim Mannion, because we had signed an agreement and we had a contract, obviously, before the split, the IFBB Pro League said, listen, we're going to honor the pro cards we said we would give out, and Raphael said yes, and we're going to give out the IFBB Pro Elite cards. So the overall winners, first and second, will have a choice of the IFBB Pro League card or the Elite card. One or the other. Okay?
Ron,
Yeah.
Ross Duncan from the British Columbia Bodybuilding Association. So, well, gee, thanks.
So, you know, we operate as an association under the CBBF.
Yep.
And looking forward to 2018.
Right.
For our shows to support Michelle's show.
Right.
In 2018, do we just move forward as we are? Or would we have to become a member of the CPA? Or what are we looking at there?
Yeah.
What-
British Columbia is special.
Thank you.
We've had many conversations,
Yes.
Ross and I.
Yeah.
Very strong volunteer system in BC, and you know, they do a great job. They got a very strong volunteer system there, a very strong association, a solid budget. So obviously you got to do some real serious thinking here. If you're going to be continuing to run on the system you have in place now, obviously your promoters are going to be running shows to qualify to the CBBF Nationals to get the Pro Elite card. All right. Now, if you want those shows to run to qualify to the, say, Vancouver Pro Show, let's face it, Vancouver and Alberta are key players in supporting the Vancouver Pro Show and the success of that pro event there. I mean, you know, she'll get support from the rest of the provinces, but those are the key areas. Yeah, they're going to, like, your promoters may call me and say, Ron, I want to be on board with you.
They better not.
But if they but the first person I'm talking to is you. You know, if you're going to be telling all your promoters, listen, we got a lot of pros here. You know, we got to support the Canadian Physique Association. The existing promoters can stay in place. They're not out to take any promoters out, but you're going to have to really do some research on your association's bylaws. Do your due diligence to ensure that you know, you can change bylaws to ensure that you can be part of the CPA. You got to remember about memberships. Memberships are going to the CPA; they're not going to the province anymore. So that's your income in a lot of the provinces, because it's now that it's promoter driven. Like the NPC, even though it's promoter driven, they do have directors in different parts of the country that don't necessarily run shows, but they kind of like help. You know, they kind of oversee it and ensure the judges are doing the right things and that it's run according to NPC rules. Most of the NPC volunteers, their perk is running a show, and they, you know, and you know, they make an income from that, so that helps cover the expenses. But and you know, hopefully these promoters are going to support their athletes. One thing we are going to lose, you know, I mean, I'm going to be transparent. We're going to lose that team. You know, we're going to lose that team jacket there. You know what I'm saying?
I'm still wearing
You know, I bring my whole. Well, no, I mean, no. Obviously, you can still wear it, but I'm just saying. You know, I'm proud. I'm going to wear mine. But you know, but listen, you know, when we did go to the Nationals, you know, we had bragging rights, right? We'd go there with a team and we'd have all our jackets. Well, you kind of lose that. It's going to be more promoter driven and individual competitors that are going to be coming to these events. It's going to be up to the promoter to support the athletes.
I know in the past you mentioned that the following year you're going to go to top 3 for regional.
Yeah.
Is that just going to stay top 5 now?
That's just forget about that for now. The transition is like right now, the transition, yeah, we're obviously opening the floodgates to try to ensure that the pro qualifiers are strong. But we got to realize that also our regional promoters, if they're not coming back, it'll be, you know, it's going to be tough to run these regional shows. The regional promoters, what we're hoping for them to do is to get new people in. And that's what the promoters do, really. They and the trainers, they're the ones that get new people in. But we still have to have a tier system that's strong enough that it goes back to the, you know, if you don't qualify, you go back to the regional shows. It's just that in the transition, there's a lot of competitors that only going to qualify for that year. So it's not like they're going to hold it for 2 years. So if they don't show up at the pro qualifier, they got to go back, even if they place first at your show or any regional show.
So no overall buying.
Not yet.
Trips to, okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're going to have overall winners in your regional shows. All the promoters here, listen, if you're the overall winner and you give you want to give overall winners some prizes other than trip to Florida. If you want to give them prizes like a trip to Vancouver or expenses or iPhone, yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, he does a great show, but he likes to give back to the athletes. And that's, I mean, and we're hoping that a lot of the promoters, and Fuad, I mean, all our promoters give back to the athletes. Y'all do a great job. So it's going to be up to the promoters to decide, you know, how they want to work that.
Yeah, so when you talk about regional shows, you're
Right.
talking about under the umbrella of NPC.
CPA.
Or CPA,
Yeah.
sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
So not regional shows as they are now
No.
in the association?
Well,
Yeah,
all your shows are regional shows, really,
yeah,
under CPA.
right,
And they're going to be all the same when it comes to qualifications.
right.
Anybody that steps on a stage in any of these shows next year qualifies to a pro qualifier. And then I showed you what we had in place here.
Right.
Which is going to be, I'll be sending that out so you can, you know, review it even more. I'm sure you're going to have a meeting with your members to have a discussion on this, I suspect.
we've got one.
But I mean, yeah, so, yeah, you have a tough decision to make there. You know, depending, you know, I know you got pros that do shows, you know.
You got pros that judge.
You got pros that judge.
Yeah.
So, you know, they have to make decisions. So, you know, hopefully you can find the right mix that's going to keep you involved. You know, you're like BC Association, none of the executives run any shows. They're just volunteering. But they've got some great judges, like you're an international judges. So you can still be involved. And I think you and Wayne might want to just judge after all the stress you guys have been through. You know, we still want you involved, and you could still be a key player because we know you're passionate for the sport. But you know, your involvement may be just with the CBBF because of your structure. But if it is, that's fine. But you got to remember everything I've told you.
Yeah.
We're going to be aggressive.
Yeah.
If we don't have any promoters in BC that want to do any shows for us, I'll be.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Yeah, of course. Well, I'm not going to be coming after you. I'm not coming after you personally.
I know, yeah.
But, you know, of course, we're going to, you know, and I think promoters are going to be interested in possibly participating because of the way we have things set up. Because if they do a good job and they're good promoters and they're really passionate, a lot of them are trainers and they have a lot of support, they're going to want to run shows for the CPA, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
As someone like me who works like grassroots with the athletes, what's the best way that I can present this to them so that
They understand?
so they understand that something
Yeah.
without you know, a 90-minute slideshow?
Yeah, you don't, yeah, listen, the 90-minute.
Say, I want to compete. Which do I,
Yeah.
where do I go? What's the
Yeah, well, listen, you know that a lot of the competitors don't know what's going on here. They don't even care. They just want to compete,
yeah.
right? Especially first timers. They just want to get on stage. They got something. It's not about sometimes not about a pro card. It's just about an incentive to get on stage. You know about that, Fidel. All these people you help. So you know that. I don't think you have to give them too much information other than, okay, listen, if they talk to you about a pro card, IFBB pro card, and they talk to you about the Olympia, and they talk to you about the Arnolds, they talk to you about the Rock that's involved at the Olympia, well, if they're talking to you in those terms, say, yeah, well, you know, in Ontario, obviously, in Ontario, there's going to probably, who knows, maybe they're going to run a Ben Weider Cup here. Who knows? You know, we won't be involved. But I know one thing, our 26 shows, they're going with the CPA. I mean, they really want, they want that's what's going to work for them. Right, Lincoln? Right, Lincoln?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. You weren't supposed to answer like that.
And I just want to make, sorry, Melissa Lefebvre, Alberta
Yeah.
Bodybuilding Association. I just want to make sure I understand exactly what's happening with the OPA then. So you're distributing the funds. Are you then going to fold the OPA?
Yeah, oh yeah, the CBBF will probably disband me, which is they should. Yes, absolutely. Yes, that has to. Yeah, and we're actually talking to our lawyer and making sure that we follow the proper rules. That has to happen. We can't be both.
And
Yeah.
reincorporating as a CPA.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, we have to do that. That's
Is it
yeah.
for-profit or not-for-profit?
Pardon?
Is the new association a for-profit or not-for-profit?
It's going to be incorporated. By the way, it is a business. MPC, just like MPC. You can have we could still be not for profit. If you look at the rules and guidelines, I mean, I did talk to my accountant about that, and we could still have it as a not-for-profit. It's just that people get, not-for-profit. You can have people on salary. There's all kinds of things. I'm sure you have looked into it if you're an accountant. There's a lot of not-for-profit people out there, as you know, who are making chairmans are making $100,000 a year. We all know that. So yeah, of course, I could keep it not-for-profit. I could give myself a nice fat salary if I want to. My accountant did give me the pros and cons. So, but there's certain regulations. Some provinces you need 3 executives. Some provinces you need 5. I believe New Brunswick or Nova Scotia. You've probably looked into that. So there's guidelines that you have to follow, and and it's really all about taxes. And the only difference between not-profit and incorporated is the taxes, right? It's really, yeah, and the shareholders. So it'll be up to the individuals. I was kind of thinking non-profit, not-profit,
Well, the difference would be that a not-for-profit would have members who would have a say in the running of the organization.
Right.
A for-profit, it would
Yeah.
be shareholders.
Yeah.
People could be members, but
Yeah.
they wouldn't have a say.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So, the direction is, like MPC, decisions can be made pretty quick.
Yep.
And,
Because it's held.
exactly. Yeah. So, those are the options.
So the gala in November this year will be the last event under the OK structure, is that right?
This year, well, I don't know. I got a feeling I'm going to get booted out there before that happens. Listen, we plan to run all our shows, and we are going to have the gala. And, of course, we're still going to give out the awards at the gala. We're still going to, everybody that's going to be competing at that event will be, just like any event that was in Ontario this year, qualified to the Pro Qualifier or the CBBF. I mean, they can still do that. But the gala is still going to go. It'll be under, likely under the CPA heading, But listen, you can still wear your OPA shirt if you want. I'm not going to pull that off you. The OPA jacket.
Sure. Yeah.
I have a two-part question. Would you mind putting up the last slide with the dates, and where can we find that info? Like, does the CPA already have a website up and running, or will the OPA in the meantime?
Yeah, well, we're gonna take a black magic marker, and we're just gonna cover the O a little bit. Maybe CPA. But anyway, yes, the website is going to be transferred over to the CPA. We're going to change it. This information, we're videotaping it as we speak, but I'll probably send my slide presentation out to people that want it. Yeah, this is all geared for 2018. I mean, we all still have some events going on, but this is all geared for 2018. All right, and memberships and all that will be geared for 2018. So. Yeah, if you want to compete at the gala, it's going to be still. We'll see. I haven't officially resigned from I haven't done anything other than give this presentation. So. But obviously, we got to. Decisions are going to have to be made, and Debbie understands that.
Ron, just a point of clarification, going back to those pro cards.
Right.
And all that. So the IFBB Elite Pro card.
Yeah.
Going in, which you would get going through the CBBF stream.
Right.
That card there, as a pro, at this point in time, I'm assuming and from what I understand, there's no pro shows to compete in, and there's no final Olympia type of championship at the end of it.
Yeah, it's at its infancy.
Right.
There's no IFBB Elite Pro show yet here in Canada.
Right.
Maybe next year there'll be one. So that Elite Pro card right now is something they're going to have to build the infrastructure and go from there. So for those athletes that want to seek that card, they can seek it. But right now, I don't know unless you have a date already for next year, or maybe maybe it'll be tied up with the Canadas. I don't know. I'm sure you're going to get that information out at some point. But there's so there's no show this year anyway.
Right.
That I know.
And those IFBB Pro League cards.
Right.
As you would say, the status quo in terms of competing in the IFBB Pro League shows, like you said, the Arnolds, the shows in Europe, Arnold Asia, whatever these shows are
Right.
around the world. These IFBB Pro League card holders can compete in all those shows. So basically that stream is already formed.
Yeah.
Where the other stream is still.
They got to build it. I mean, listen, the IFBB Pro League has over $4.5 million, I believe, in prize money within all their pro shows.
Right.
And that's the incentive, of course, tied in with all the magazines and a lot of the supplement companies. It's a big business, right? So the IFBB Pro Elite has to develop that. They have to develop that
From my understanding,
stream.
there is
You
20
know. Yeah.
of these shows planned for next year.
There you go.
One in Canada.
Yeah.
Already planned.
So how they're going to go, like you said, they're planned. How many are going to show up? We'll see, right? So, you know, and those 20 shows that are planned are not in Canada and the U.S., right? All the 20 shows are not in Canada and U.S. There might be one in Canada, likely one, maybe or two in the U.S., I don't know. But it'll be a while. I mean, they can't obviously have, they're not going to have the amount of pros that the IFBB Pro League has. I mean, you know, they've been around for a long, long time, right? Yeah, it's gonna take time to develop it. Pardon?
The IFBB Pro League had 180 pro shows around the world.
How many?
108.
So there you go, 108. So yeah, it's going to take time for the Pro Elite to develop, for sure. But
And once you have either card,
right.
you can't transfer.
Absolutely not.
Obviously, you got to pick one.
Yes.
But you can't. Let's say you decide, you know what? I don't want to do the IFBB Pro League anymore. I want to do the Elite now.
Yeah.
You have to, you know, I guess basically start over again.
I don't know how the Pro Elite is going to work their things, if they're going to say, you can just switch it over. I know that the IFBB Pro League, I believe, you know, you can't just say, I got a pro card in the IFBB Pro Elite, now I want to take and switch over. You can't. There's going to have to be some kind of first you're going to have to relinquish your Pro League, your Pro League title. Now, probably the same thing with the Pro Elite, in order to get, and then start at the amateur level and qualify, just like we kind of do now, really.
It's two different federations.
Eh?
It's two different federations.
Two different federations altogether. So you're going to have to relinquish your Pro League thing there and then start with just like WBFF had pro cards, UFE. If they wanted to get on board, they had to relinquish their pro card. Any more questions? You sure? Oh, there we go.
You were saying that you're like for the pro qualifiers and stuff, any federation can compete in any of the regionals, that kind of thing, right?
As long as they're amateurs, yeah.
Any member of the CBBF can compete.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So there was a letter released, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, from the Elite Pro League,
Right.
saying that amateur competitors were forbidden to compete in like the Olympia Amateur and the Arnold. So maybe Debbie can clarify if that's changed, because you said that you weren't going to be putting any
We're not going,
restrictions?
the CBBF is not going to have any restrictions on our athletes.
So that letter is, that's
Yeah,
changed now?
We're looking into that. That's the letter that came from Dr. Raphael.
Yes.
Sosa.
Yes.
So we're looking into that right now. I mean, that's not gonna, as far as we're concerned.
Right.
Our Canadian athletes can go wherever they want. We're not going to impose any.
Which is basically what we've had all along.
Yeah,
But
so I'm confused. How can you decide not to, if he's the president of your association, not to follow that rule?
Well, we have to talk to him and get some clarification.
Okay,
That's what
okay.
I'm saying. The
Okay.
letter came out, it was a little confusing to us as well, so
Yeah.
we have to get clarification on that. But as it stands right now, like, we're not gonna impose any type of sanctions.
Okay.
Anybody from Canada wants to compete in the board.
Yeah, because I got confused when you said
Yeah.
there's no restrictions, because
Yeah.
I'd seen that letter, so I just wanted to.
Yeah, no, it was a little confusing.
Yeah.
So we will, obviously, they look after what, like 192 countries or something? We're
Right.
one of those countries. They don't know all our athletes.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, perfect,
Ramos,
thank you.
just curious, when will this video be available for
probably, I don't know, in the next week or so, we'll have this video ready. Stuart? Yeah, we're going to put it, probably put it on YouTube. Right? And I think I'm doing an interview with Dominic. He's going to ask me some questions, and Rudy and I are going to be doing an interview. And So we'll make sure we get that information out so everybody knows. Yes?
Hey, Ryan, in terms of judging now, if you're a national level judge
Right.
Within the CBBF or an international judge,
Mhm.
how does that work now within the CPA? Do you, obviously, I
Right.
don't know what the status is.
Well, I mean, listen, our pro qualifiers, by the way, the pro qualifiers, likely the head judges are going to be coming from the U.S. for the first year. You know, our national judges may have an opportunity to judge. The national judges from the CBBF, or you know, our national judges, or will likely have an opportunity to judge those shows. If you want to become an IFBB Pro judge, you're definitely not going to get it unless you're part of this organization. So we're hoping that a lot of the judges, whether they're from BC or Ontario, are going to be wanting to judge that international event. But there's going to there'll have to be at least a national judge, and we're going to decide who's going to actually judge those shows. Likely for the first year, so that the NPC system is implemented, and we kind of follow their look. The IFBB Pro judge will, an IFBB, Sandy Rinaldi, I think Sandy might be judging some of the shows. She's been a head judge for many years, but all of the other judges will be Canadian judges. It'll be probably one head judge from the IFBB Pro League, and then the rest will be Canadian judges.
What happens with the provincial judges now? How does that?
Provincial judges are still judging the regional shows. I mean, we have a lot of provincial judges. Likely at our pro qualifier, it'll probably have 9 judges like we usually have. You know, likely the same judges that we have in place now, except that the head judge, maybe Sandy or Steve or...
You'll see if the show does increase in numbers that we anticipate, it'll be similar to North America's. And that's meant to North America's. They see the panel of judges which you have and how they're scheduled. Will still require a number of qualified judges. So it'll be that same structure. So if North America's had 1,800 athletes for a period of 4 days, and you can't do it with 9 judges. You know, so it'll be structured that way. So there'll be an opportunity for those who wish to judge to come with the CPA to judge. And again, we have 25 shows just in Ontario, and if whatever promoters come across Canada, we're required judges. We're not going to fly, as much as to the chagrin of a lot of Ontario judges, we're not flying into BC. You know, hey, this week, I'll stay for a couple of weeks. And so it's a constant factor too. So we require there's a tremendous great judges in all of Canada, right across Canada, and the CPA will require those also.
Yes?
The only real discipline that's changed involving athletes, specifically bikini posing, is it going to go NPC?
NPC, yep. Everything NPC.
Pro, on those exact guidelines.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's with suits, everything. Again, if you've been
shoes,
everything. If you have again been to the
North America.
These athletes, North America's,
yeah,
they'll follow those guides, registration, everything.
So one set of posing rules for every. Perfect.
Yes, sir.
Just first of all, congratulations on running the OPA and doing a great job with your organization.
Thanks.
Just want to point out to everybody that I'm not sure if anybody knows this, but British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Quebec, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland are all standing united with the CDBF. We're still waiting to hear back from a couple of other provinces. So again, just so you know that it's 1 or 2 provinces that are in favor of this, and
right.
The rest of us are standing strong with
right.
the CDBF here.
Can I just say something?
What's that?
I'd just like to say, with that, hearing that, even more respect for you for taking this decision and doing what you did. Absolutely.
Thank you. All right.